The scene transitions to Roman's office, where Lucas conveys the news to Roman that, as Roman had anticipated, Douglas has declared war against the Alliance Association. Roman, maintaining his composed demeanor, remarks to Lucas that Count Douglas is a man who stands firm once he has spoken. He reassures Lucas that everything is proceeding according to Roman's meticulously devised plan. Acknowledging Count Conrad's meticulous nature, Roman explains that if Douglas were to take more drastic measures, Conrad would inevitably surrender, even if it means relinquishing his pride. Roman instructs Lucas to initiate the spread of rumors immediately, emphasizing the importance of cornering Conrad, leaving him no room to retreat or avoid the impending conflict. Roman believes that when Conrad finds himself backed into a corner, he will likely discard his pride as a survival strategy. The scene then shifts to northern Cairo, a vibrant marketplace where an elderly food seller shares with a customer the palpable tension prevailing in the territory. The Northeastern Alliance Association's preparations to attack Count Douglas's country stir surprise among the marketgoers. Subsequently, a beggar, adorned in a worn cap, spreads the confirmed rumors derived directly from a Conrad family servant. The beggar recounts the aftermath of Conrad's call with Douglas, describing Conrad's fit of rage that resulted in the destruction of furniture. According to the beggar, Conrad is resolute in his determination to crush Douglas. The rumors of the Northeastern Alliance Association's alleged ill intentions against Count Douglas begin to circulate widely. The originators of these rumors are identified as merchants and servants, residing in the lowest echelons of society, all affiliated with the secretive house sect. The scene then shifts to Count Douglas, visibly angered by the circulating rumors, setting the stage for the unfolding political drama. Count Douglas, his voice resonating with authority, commands the presence of all his family officials, his demeanor heavy with determination. With unwavering resolve, he swears upon his family name that he will never forgive the Alliance Association for their perceived transgressions. During the magic call with Count Conrad and Count Douglas, the air hummed with tension as Count Conrad sought to soothe his companion's agitation. He reminded Count Douglas to maintain composure, emphasizing that the Alliance Association had not taken any aggressive actions. In fact, they were considering compensation in the form of monetary restitution as a gesture of reconciliation and to implore Count Douglas for forgiveness regarding the unfortunate incident. Count Conrad's voice carried a gentle insistence as he urged Count Douglas to quell his rising agitation, assuring him that the rumors swirling around did not align with the true intentions of the Alliance Association. In response, Count Douglas's tone bristled with indignation, dismissing Conrad's words with a rhetorical question about his perception. He made it clear that his purpose in contacting Conrad was not for negotiation but to declare war on the Alliance Association. Count Douglas scornfully labeled them as pathetic bats driven solely by self-interest, expressing his resolve to crush the association completely. His words echo with defiance, leaving little room for negotiation or compromise. With a decisive conclusion to the call, Count Conrad disconnects, leaving a palpable sense of concern among the other members. They express their apprehension to Count Conrad, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. They recognize the potential consequences of Count Douglas's actions, realizing that innocent civilians may become unwitting casualties in the brewing conflict. Faced with the daunting prospect of confronting Count Douglas alone, they entertain the idea of seeking assistance from the central government. Count Conrad, desperate to avert disaster, reaches out to the central government of Count Parchus in search of support. However, his plea for assistance is met with reluctance. Count Parchus acknowledges the severity of the situation but emphasizes the central government's inability to intervene. He urges Count Conrad to resolve the matter internally, leaving the Alliance Association to fend for themselves. As the weight of their predicament bears down upon them, the members of the Alliance Association grapple with the harsh reality of their circumstances. With external support out of reach, they resign themselves to the inevitability of war. The specter of conflict looms large, casting a shadow of uncertainty over their future. Just when all hope seems lost, a glimmer of opportunity emerges in the form of a surprise communication from Roman Dimitry. Upon receiving the call, Roman addresses Count Conrad, expressing his awareness of the Alliance Association's predicament. Upon hearing the unexpected call from Roman, Count Conrad's initial reaction is guarded, suspecting it to be an opportunity for Roman to ridicule the Alliance Association's plight. However, as Roman's tone proves genuine and his intent to uncover the truth apparent, Count Conrad's skepticism gives way to a sense of intrigue and cautious optimism. Roman's unexpected sincerity prompts Count Conrad to recount the escalating tensions with Count Douglas. Roman, sensing the gravity of the situation, expresses his concern about the impending clash in the northeastern region. He queries Count Conrad about his intentions in this critical moment. With a northeastern force poised to breach their borders, Roman feels a moral obligation to intervene, driven by a desire to prevent further escalation and bloodshed. Count Conrad, surprised by Roman's offer of assistance, questions the motives behind his sudden willingness to aid the Alliance Association. He wonders whether Roman's actions are purely altruistic or if there are ulterior motives at play. Nevertheless, Count Conrad remains open to the possibility of cooperation, recognizing the potential benefits of pooling their resources and strengths. Roman, in response to Count Conrad's inquiries, elucidates his stance. He explains that despite any past grievances between Dimitry and the Alliance Association, he cannot stand idly by his trouble brews in the Northeast. Roman's concern extends beyond personal vendettas. He is motivated by a broader commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the region. Count Conrad, realizing the sincerity behind Roman's words, begins to see the potential for collaboration. He acknowledges that Roman's concern for the region's stability aligns with his own interests. With a northeastern force looming on the horizon, Count Conrad recognizes the urgency of the situation and the need for swift action. Putting aside pride and past differences, Count Conrad extends an olive branch to Roman, offering the Alliance Association's cooperation in exchange for assistance. He pledges the association's willingness to comply with any of Roman's requests, recognizing that their shared goal is to minimize losses and avert further conflict. Roman, weighing his options carefully, deliberates on the potential risks and rewards of extending aid to the Alliance Association. While he acknowledges that there may be short-term gains to be had by refraining from involvement, Roman ultimately prioritizes the long-term stability and unity of Cairo's political landscape. In the northeastern region, the need for cooperation between Dimitry and the Alliance Association becomes increasingly apparent. Count Conrad, initially surprised by Roman's genuine assistance to the Alliance Association, ponders the implications of this unexpected gesture. Roman's request is straightforward. He urges Dimitry and the Alliance Association to reconcile their differences and demonstrate a willingness to collaborate moving forward. He promises assistance to the Alliance Association if Count Conrad agrees to this proposition. Count Conrad, however, finds Roman's proposal somewhat absurd. After all, Dimitri's origins as a commoner family were once a source of disdain for him. Nevertheless, he acknowledges the need to deliberate on the matter thoroughly before offering a response. Several days later, all the Douglas soldiers convene, signaling the gravity of the situation at hand. An official reminds Count Douglas of the necessity to establish clear terms for the post-war landscape. Count Douglas, understanding the weight of the moment, readily agrees, showing his commitment to addressing the aftermath of the conflict. Count Douglas reflects on the recent fall of the Baek family, a development that has left the northeastern region fractured and vulnerable. He recognizes the opportunity presented by this power vacuum, understanding the importance of seizing control of such a valuable territory. Amidst the discussions, Count Douglas's officials express their enthusiasm for the prospect of claiming power in the northeastern region. Despite the perception that Douglas is merely a brute devoid of strategic thinking, he proves otherwise by refraining from reckless attacks on his adversaries. Douglas operates with calculated precision, ensuring that any confrontation maximizes his odds of success. This calculated approach has been key to Douglas's survival thus far. He understood the futility of rash action against Baek while they enjoyed the protection of the central government. However, now Douglas is confident in his ability to rally even the territorial lord of the North to his cause, a testament to his strategic acumen and growing influence. Recognizing the weakened state of the Northeastern Alliance Association without Baek's backing. With the absence of their former protectors, the Alliance Association appeared vulnerable, their territory ripe for the taking. As Count Douglas confronted the Alliance Association forces, he demanded to speak with their commanding officer, eager to assert his dominance. However, the Alliance Association insisted that it wasn't the designated time for negotiation and asked Count Douglas to wait patiently. Count Douglas, growing impatient, questioned the logic of delaying when all their forces were already assembled, insinuating that they were squandering their efforts on a futile endeavor. Suddenly, a soldier alerted Count Douglas to an approaching figure. Anticipating reinforcements for the Alliance Association, Count Douglas was astonished to see the flag of Dimitry and Roman Dimitry himself leading a troop. His surprise was palpable as he struggled to comprehend Roman's unexpected presence on the battlefield. As Roman steps forward, he presents Count Douglas with a compelling argument regarding Dimitri's sudden appearance on the battlefield. Much like how Count Douglas has rallied the lords of the North to his cause, Roman suggests that he, too, is mobilizing his forces to aid the Alliance Association. A revelation that stunned not only Count Douglas but also the Northern lords who had gathered alongside him. The realization dawned upon Count Douglas that Roman had astutely manipulated the situation, leveraging Count Douglas's call for assistance from other lords to justify his involvement in the war. Feeling blindsided, Count Douglas pondered the implications of Roman's strategic maneuver, realizing that his plan had backfired spectacularly. Meanwhile, the Northern lords expressed their frustration at not being informed of Roman's participation, lamenting that they would have reconsidered joining the battle had they known about it beforehand. Amidst the rising tension, Count Conrad, ever the voice of reason, urged Count Douglas to prepare for engagement, emphasizing the need to proceed with caution. Count Douglas, feeling a surge of frustration and uncertainty, grappled with the sudden turn of events. Just as the situation seemed to teeter on the brink of conflict, Roman intervened, offering the Northerners a choice: engage in close combat or opt for an all-out battle. Count Douglas found himself stunned at the unexpected turn of events. Roman Dimitry, a figure of formidable repute, was joining the fray. The declaration of war had left Count Douglas feeling compelled to stand firm, yet the prospect of engaging Roman's forces head-on seemed to spell certain defeat. Even considering the alternative of close combat filled him with trepidation. While Count Douglas boasted superior numbers compared to the Northeastern Alliance Association, Roman's prowess as a warrior cast a shadow of doubt over their chances of emerging victorious. Count Douglas was at a loss, grappling with the daunting task of devising a strategy to navigate the impending conflict. With a flourish, Roman presents Count Douglas with a bold proposal. He offers to engage in combat with 3 swordsmen simultaneously. Should Count Douglas remain concerned, Roman is open to increasing the number of soldiers to 5. Count Douglas is taken aback by the audacity of the suggestion. While he acknowledges Dimitri's strength, the notion that Roman would propose something so outrageous leaves him incredulous. Roman voices his earnest wish for a conflict resolution with minimal turmoil, expressing hope for a peaceful settlement. Turning to Count Douglas, he awaits his response. Count Douglas, needing a moment of reflection, requests time to consider the matter. The scene transitions to a tranquil forest clearing, where Count Douglas stands among 5 Northern lords. After careful consideration, he presents his decision to embrace Roman's proposal. He reasoned that with 5 soldiers from their side, they stood a fighting chance against Roman, despite his fearsome reputation. Count Douglas posited that the combined strength of their forces could potentially overcome Roman's formidable skill in combat. However, 2 of the Northern lords voiced apprehension, citing the danger of underestimating Roman's capabilities. They pointed to Roman's previous triumph over Butler, a testament to his prowess as a swordsman, as evidence of the peril they faced. Despite the reservations expressed by some of the Northern lords, Count Douglas remained resolute in his conviction to confront Roman head-on. He argued that their options were limited, as regardless of their decision, they would inevitably find themselves locked in battle with Roman. Drawing upon the past successes of his twin swordsmen against a 4-star opponent, Count Douglas expressed confidence in their ability to hold their own against Roman. While acknowledging the rumors surrounding Roman's strength, Count Douglas remained steadfast in his belief that they could rise to the challenge. The unfolding events presented Count Douglas and the Northern lords with a strategic opportunity. They viewed Roman's impulsive decision to engage in combat as a chance to exploit his overconfidence. Count Douglas saw a potential route to victory. If they could eliminate Roman during his boastful display of strength, they could seize control of the entire northeastern region. With unanimous agreement from the Northern lords, they resolved to implement Count Douglas's strategy, determined to make Roman regret his arrogance. As the battle commenced, an observer from the central government arrived to oversee the proceedings, further intensifying the stakes. Now, the odds were overwhelmingly against Roman, with 5 adversaries poised to confront him. As the scene unfolds just before the impending battle, 2 twin soldiers, Vinton, the elder brother, and Vintel, the younger, strategize with the other 3 soldiers. They outline a plan where Vintel and Vinton will approach Roman from opposing sides, targeting his vulnerable blind spot. While the twins divert Roman's attention, they instruct the other soldiers to engage him. Confident in their coordinated attack, the twins assure the group that despite Roman's prowess, their strategy will create openings for a fatal strike. Promising shared fame and wealth, they urged the supporting soldiers to assist them in securing victory. With everyone poised in their positions, the duel commences. The twins channel their energy and charge at Roman in unison, their determination palpable. However, despite their synchronized assault, Roman swiftly incapacitates them with a single, decisive strike. Count Douglas and the Northern Lords watched in stunned silence as their allies fell before Roman's overwhelming strength. After swiftly incapacitating the twins, Roman turns to Count Douglas and the Northern Lords. With a composed demeanor, he reveals his inner turmoil since learning of Count Douglas's declaration of war. Roman recounts the days when negotiation was favored during the reign of the Barco family. He questions why dialogue was never attempted with Dimitry in the Alliance Association. Coming to a somber realization, Roman concludes that the Northern Lords, including Count Douglas, underestimated the significance of Roman Dimitry's family legacy. This revelation deeply unsettles him. In a solemn tone, Roman offers Count Douglas and the Northern Lords a final opportunity to reconsider their stance on the impending conflict. He proposes an alternative. Either they withdraw from the battle altogether or opt for a conventional engagement. Count Douglas is taken aback by this unexpected proposition. Contemplating the options, he realizes that in a standard war scenario, numerous soldiers under his command would inevitably perish. Faced with this grim prospect, Count Douglas weighs his choices and concludes that he would prefer to minimize casualties, opting instead to sacrifice only the 5 soldiers involved in the current strategy. Determined to uphold the rules they had set, Count Douglas resolved to see their decision through to the end. Accepting Count Douglas's resolve, Roman agreed to proceed as planned. However, the remaining 3 soldiers from Count Douglas's faction recognized that the battle was effectively over. They hesitated, contemplating ending the fight then and there. Observing their reluctance, Roman anticipated their surrender, viewing it as an act of cowardice. In an attempt to level the playing field, Roman dropped his sword, opting to fight unarmed. With unwavering confidence, he invited the soldiers to continue their attack. The soldiers, mindful of the dishonor that would accompany their retreat, decided to press forward. Believing they could overcome Roman now that he was unarmed, they charged at him with determination. In a swift and decisive move, Roman shatters a soldier's sword with a powerful punch, the impact landing squarely on the soldier's face. With fluid precision, he incapacitates the other 2 soldiers as they attempt to surrender. Ignoring their pleas, Roman relentlessly pummels them into submission, leaving no room for mercy. After subduing the soldiers, Roman fixes Count Douglas and the other Northern Lords with a stern gaze, his expression unyielding. With a tone heavy with authority, he demands if there are any objections. Count Douglas and the other lords, their heads bowed in acknowledgement, murmur in unison that there are no objections to be made. Returning to Count Conrad, Roman received a gesture of gratitude as Count Conrad bowed and expressed appreciation for Roman's assistance in the war. Roman assured Count Conrad of his commitment to their partnership moving forward. Count Conrad reflected that had the Alliance Association opted for an all-out war against Dimitry, they would have suffered defeat instead. True to Roman's plan, the hierarchy of the northeastern region had now been established clearly. A few days later, the scene shifted to the conference room of the Northeastern Alliance Association. Count Conrad and other members sat around the table, with Roman Dimitry occupying the central seat. Roman announced that his father had granted him full authority in the matter at hand. He inquired if anyone had any objections, but silence prevailed. With a smile, Roman declared that he had news to share with everyone present.